Hi guys, how you doing? It's Rachel and Kitty Petey. I hope wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you're having a great day. We're here today and we're very honoured to be speaking with Melanie McGrice. She's an advanced accredited practicing dietitian. There's very few people in Australia and practicing dietitians who have achieved that status, and we're just very honoured to be in partnership with Melanie. How you doing?
Good, having a good day, thanks.
Yay! And
we love working with you too.
Oh, now Melanie's we were just saying, and just before we sort of went live, very much known as a guru, I would say, in the industry, and highly respected. She's really made a success as an in-demand practitioner, an author, conference speaker, guest speaker. She's regularly in the media and people are after her opinions, information, advice, tips on nutrition, fertility, pregnancy and women's health.
Just doing what I can to help people.
She's incredible, and we are seriously so honoured to be in partnership with Melanie. We publish Melanie's articles each month. This month we actually published an article titled, "What Do You Mean I Can't Eat for Two?" And that's addressing the sensitive subject of weight gain in pregnancy, which is an important discussion to have. So, on that, we've got three questions we're going to be asking today, but before we sort of lead into that, if anyone hasn't read the article to date, could you maybe just give us a little bit of an overview and update about what the article's about?
Yeah, sure. Before I get into the article, I would like to just reiterate that I get that it is a seriously sensitive topic. I run a online pregnancy program and see clients in my practice, and like I get what a difficult topic it is for a lot of women. But I'm really of the belief that just because it's hard doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And really knowledge is power. And so the more that you can arm yourself with with knowledge about this topic, the more control that you're going to actually have over it. And so I think that we just need to be be sensitive about it, and like I actually did a TV thing recently where they were saying about should we just love our body at every size, or should we be focusing on our weight? Well, I actually think there's a combination of both. Like weight isn't about the way that you look. We need to love our body no matter what our body size and shape is, and everybody is different, and you would never tell a little one that they need to lose weight or that they should be unhappy with their body the way that is. Like I think about my different nephews and nieces, for example. They're all different sizes and shapes, and that's a good thing. So we all need to love ourselves for the way that we are, but at the same time we do need to be mindful of that weight gain during pregnancy. And one of the main reasons is that the weight that you put on during pregnancy has been shown to have an impact on our baby's future weight struggles. So particularly, sorry, I'm just
it's fine. It's great.
It's a topic that I'm really passionate about because although I specialise in fertility and pregnancy, part of my story of how I got to specialise in this area is I actually work a day a week at a major teaching hospital in Melbourne, and part of so the morning I actually work in the weight management clinic, and then the afternoon I work in the maternity area. And in that morning clinic, my average client is 200 kilos.
Wow.
So working with people who have serious weight issues. And what's really interesting, which a lot of people don't get, so many people are like, oh, well, just eat less or just go out and do exercise. And it's actually not that simple. I've really come to understand and believe that most of our weight and body shape is actually determined by our hormones. And our hormones, our appetite hormones and our fat absorption hormones and all of those types of things, they're determined by what mum eats during pregnancy. So this is why this topic is just so important for us to have a real conversation about during pregnancy.
And naturally, the hormones can change for a woman before and after pregnancy, in the sense of which can affect weight gain post-pregnancy as well.
That's right, for mums as well. So, and that's where, I'm so glad that you brought my book along, Rach. But part of the reason for actually writing this book in the first place was based from these clients. And with all of my weight management clients, I had always asked them, so when did you start struggling with your weight? Now, the most common times is after starting a particular medication which caused weight gain.
Yep.
After going through some type of trauma or abuse, maybe after a major illness would be a third one. But the most common time when people really started struggling with their weight was after pregnancy, after having babies.
Yeah.
And so, and the current research is showing that over 50% of Australian mums are gaining too much weight during pregnancy, more than the guidelines.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is a really important
And
conversation.
that was a link that was in the article as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So the article addresses what sort of subject, like from what angle?
Yeah, so the article is mainly about what we need to be looking at in terms of weight gain during pregnancy.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. And we've got 3 key questions we can sort of ask today.
Sure.
And the first one being, how much weight should a woman aim to gain during pregnancy?
Yeah. So first of all, it's not just one answer. So it actually depends upon your preconception BMI. And this is why I think the conversation isn't had with your midwife, or isn't had with your GP, isn't had with your obstetrician, because it actually changes from woman to woman. So it just requires a few little calculations. It is pretty easy to work out, but you do need to sit down and work that out. So your BMI, that stands for body mass index.
Yep.
And that's essentially your height compared to your weight. So the way I like to think about it is, if you've got 2 people, they're both 100 kilos, but one is like a 6'4", 21-year-old muscular man. At 100 kilos, he's probably very slim.
Yep.
Whereas, a 5 foot postmenopausal woman will be very overweight at 100 kilos.
Yes. Yep.
So it's comparing your height versus your weight.
Yeah.
So we want to work out what your preconception BMI is. So what's your BMI when you became pregnant? And from that, then we determine how much weight to gain during pregnancy.
Yep.
Now, if you are to gain, if you were what's called a healthy or a normal, terrible words, but anyway, healthy BMI at preconception, so between 18.5 to 25, the recommended amount of pregnancy weight gain is 11.5 to 16 kilos. But if you think about it, we're only delivering about a 3.5 kilo baby.
Yep.
So, that's a big difference when it comes to what we're actually delivering.
So if somebody wants to work out their BMI, there's a chart that you link to in the article, is that right?
Yep, I believe there is. It's also in the book, the Pregnancy Weight Plan, which people can get that. Can they get that through? I think they can get that through your website,
through
actually.
Kiddopedia as well.
So through Kiddopedia, otherwise, through my website, which you can get my contact details through Kiddopedia website. And also, it's one of the things that we do look at inside my online program.
Yeah. And have you found, I guess, with the people that you speak to, that this is something that women sort of fear, I guess, sort of carrying the weight post-pregnancy? Is that?
So I do definitely see some women who are really worried about their own weight post-pregnancy. Some women are worried about baby's weight post-pregnancy. Most, I find, just don't want to know about it. They just don't want to think about it because they think it's too scary a topic. Your body changes so much during pregnancy already, and so sometimes it's easier just to go, I'm just going to I'll put on however much I put on during pregnancy, and then I'll deal with it after pregnancy. But I'd really encourage women not to do that, because like I was saying, weight gain is that extra weight is much harder to get off after pregnancy if you put too much on. So and the research shows, there's a really interesting research study that had some women who knew what their weight gain target was, and other women they didn't. And
that's interesting, a weight gain target. So that's tell us about that. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, so like I said, so rather than just not knowing how much weight to gain during pregnancy, actually knowing what your target is, like how much weight to gain during pregnancy. And so the women who knew what their target goal were, had double their chance of actually achieving, more than double their chance of actually achieving that weight gain target.
And that's something that you can work out via information in the book and in the article. Is that
That's
something?
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. So so for anybody who's pregnant, I would highly encourage you to work out what your weight gain target is, and then work out approximately how much you should be gaining each week during your pregnancy, so that you have a bit of control over how much you're actually gaining.
And so how would you do that? That is something that you would just then work backwards from what the end...
That's right.
Yep.
And so that's where either in my book or in my online program, it will take you through step by step, and we'll hold your hand to help you to achieve that.
That's sensational.
Yeah.
Next question.
Okay.
Yay. What happens if a mother gains too much weight or too little? Because, I mean, so maybe we'll start with too much and then we can talk about too little.
Yeah. So... yeah, I hate saying these things, but again, it's really important to, knowledge is power. So it can have quite a big impact gaining too much weight during pregnancy. So we already talked about childhood obesity and also you struggling to get the weight off in the future. It can also, it increases your risk of tearing during delivery, which none of us want. Because that can cause a whole lot of then problems in terms of infections and just discomfort. While you've got a little one, that's right, pain and it's not just discomfort, is it? I'm really underplaying here. Serious pain. Also problems in terms of like urinary leakage in the future and so forth as well. So so
pelvic floor, not so much. So
that's a big issue. Excuse me. So also increasing just bub's risk of future weight gain and then all of those weight related conditions. There is also an increased risk of miscarriage when you gain too much weight during pregnancy. And
why
all
is
of
that?
those associated because you have increased risks of things like preeclampsia and gestational diabetes and all of those other problems.
Complications.
As well. Yeah, that's right. So like they're all yucky, scary things that aren't nice to talk about. Which is why I like to skip all of that and just focus on, let's just try and focus on the positives and being much control of it as we can as possible.
And what about if a mother is not gaining enough weight during the pregnancy? The main risk with that is what we call a low gestational weight baby, which means that your baby doesn't grow big enough. And that means that when they're delivered, that they can have some complications in terms of not being developed enough, fully developed enough. So that's the main risks there. And we see like mainly mums who don't put on enough weight is mainly like mums who've had previous eating disorders or what else? Maybe some type of illness or something along those lines. Maybe mums who focus too much on like not gaining weight during pregnancy. Yes.
So we do need to gain weight, but we want that sort of that happy medium. Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And with that subject as well, with mothers having I can't say the word, diabetes, but what's the word?
Gestational.
That's the word. I can't say it. Sorry. Can you just talk to that for a moment too? Because if a mother, for example, has say it again.
Gestational diabetes.
That's the one.
GD.
And they have to be cautious, and they don't maybe necessarily want to be able to they want to be able to monitor it through their diet as opposed to other means. Can that affect the weight gain or trying to, or potentially maybe not gaining enough?
Yep, definitely. So first of all, you don't get to choose whether you want to manage it through diet or other means, which the other means are insulin injections.
Yep.
Your obstetrician or midwife or endocrinologist or your healthcare team will tell you, and that's based on what your glucose readings are.
Oh, okay.
Because
I didn't know that, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not your job to know. It's not your job to know. It's your job to ask the questions, Rach. So with GD, what happens, gestational diabetes, so the mums are then required to test their glucose levels sort of on a regular times throughout the day. So usually we get them to test them first thing in the morning, which we call it their fasting glucose level, and then we test after every meal what their glucose levels are like. If they're too high and they're consistently too high, that's where we do the insulin injections.
Right.
And the reason why we do the insulin injections is because if you don't get them within that recommended range, that causes baby to get really, really big.
Oh.
And that's where, when baby gets really, really big, like super big increased risk of childhood obesity, and also risks of things like the baby actually breaking bones while they're being delivered.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. And so this is why, because in this day and age,
serious?
yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
So this is why in this day and age, in Western country of Australia, where we have so much medical technology, like we use insulin and we do the blood glucose tests and things, but in ages gone by, and in third world countries, when babies are delivered, if they have, and mum has gestational diabetes, babies can die from being too big and not being able to be delivered properly, huge tearing risks and so forth, breaking the pelvis as you're delivering as well. Ooh. Yeah, I know, not nice. But like I said, that doesn't happen because we give the insulin injections if mums need it.
And if for whatever reason the mother doesn't have the insulin injections, can that cause a baby to be underweight at all? Or?
Yeah, it can go either way. It can be really underweight or really overweight. But like I said, this day and age, in hospitals in Australia, mums will have those insulin injections. They're monitored really closely. And if worse came to worse, like if there was problems with a large baby or a small baby, that's where they do a Caesar.
Yes.
Yeah. Most of the time these days, it's really more, it's really more, like I said, third world countries and things where they don't have that type of follow up to be able to do the ultrasounds, to be able to actually intervene. Yeah. Okay. But still, like, you want to try and, where possible, avoid these problems in the first place. Like, prevention is much, much better than cure. Yeah. Because, if you can have your delivery naturally compared to a Caesar, then there's lots of advantages for that, for both you and your baby, in terms of, you're able to share your gut microbiome with your baby much better to reduce risk of allergies and so forth. You're able to heal much better than having gone through major surgery, having a Caesar. So so we do want to avoid these things where possible, and this is where focusing on nutrition early on in your pregnancy or throughout your whole pregnancy is really beneficial.
Yeah. Should we get to the last question?
Yeah, sure.
Right, and we have the last question. And the last question is: should women weigh themselves during pregnancy, or will the doctor do that for them?
Yeah, good question. So your doctor may do that for you, or your midwife, or whoever you're seeing. But I really believe that we shouldn't leave all of our healthcare to our healthcare professionals, because they've got a lot to think of as well. And for doctors, it's really hard subject for doctors to raise. They hate raising it, and they hate weighing their clients. Yeah.
Because of the pressures of having that uncomfortable conversation? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And often that conversation is a very long conversation, and they're often very busy and don't have the time and so forth.
And they don't want to cause the stress.
Don't want to cause the emotional stress and so forth. Yeah, absolutely. So this is where I think, the more proactive that we can be when we're pregnant, by really taking care of our own weight and diet and physical activity, the healthier pregnancy that we're going to have. And again, you know, doctors a lot of the time, they're there to fix the problems, but they're not always so focused on the prevention. So, you know, by you weighing yourself, and I would highly discourage you from weighing yourself every day. Like, weigh yourself once a week, or like, I really think that's an optimal amount of time, once a week. Choose your weigh-in day, so you might say you have, you know, every Saturday morning or something like that, so it's consistent. Write it down in a little book. Look at the difference of how much you're gaining each week, and you know, don't stress if you're a bit higher one week or a bit lower one week or what have you. You want to be looking at the overall pattern.
Yep. Yeah. So I guess the key takeaways from today have been what did you call it, the program on, like when you've got your goal at the end of your pregnancy? What was that called again?
You're knowing what your pregnancy weight target is.
So a pregnancy weight target. And would you suggest maybe mothers to be able, as you said, to have like a book where they can write this down and then weigh themselves, as you said, like once a week in there?
Absolutely.
And break that down.
So absolutely. So I'd highly recommend working out what your individual weight gain target is. And then keeping track of your own weight throughout pregnancy. And then if you are concerned about it, just get in contact with a pregnancy dietitian who can give you some advice.
Yes, or yourself.
Or me. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to help you out. Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, if they've got any other tricky questions on the subject and or about the other things that you specialise in, being all the other stuff that you specialise in.
So for those of you who don't know me, I specialise in fertility and pregnancy.
Yes.
So,
a guru in this space. So if they've got any other follow-up questions, where would they find you?
Lots of places. They're not too hard to find, to be honest. Through Ketopedia is probably the best way. You'll see on there my links to my YouTube channel, which is Nourish with Melanie, and my website, Melanie McGrice, and my online pregnancy program, 8 Simple Steps to a Healthy Pregnancy.
Sensational. Look, we are so honoured to have had your time today, for your information, your advice. Guys, if there's any other questions that you've got, feel free to to send them through the feed, and we can follow them on directly to Melanie, and or, as she said, you can sort of find her through our website or through all of the links associated. Thanks for your time today, and just for the priceless information as well.
My pleasure. Here to help.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you hopefully really soon. On Monday, we've got another Facebook Live, so we'll see you then. Okay, enjoy your Saturday. Bye. Just